Look at this young man. The world ahead of him. Gorgeous locks flowing. Little did he know he'd turn out to be this. Poor little sod. If I could have let him know what was in store for him, he would have run off and become an accountant. I've had a life of tenuous relationships. People who played starring roles in my life for a bit and then just walked off the set. They might be on screen occasionally after that from time to time, but mostly the camera fades on them and they're never seen again. Card games though. Those little rectangles of paper with their funny symbols on them, they've stayed with me. From this to this, right up until the shivering mess you see before you. I was born pre-internet, so games like Rummy and Whist stood beside Mega Man and that Mickey Mouse platformer on the Master System, which was brilliant. Then, as I got older and sweets were replaced by pints, I played shithead and Indonesian poker. It wasn't until I got into games, though, that I realised the real magic that can be woven with cards. That suits and numbers and sometimes text is alchemy. It turns plastic-covered wood pulp into gold. There are some truly remarkable card games out there. Now, these little boxes of joy are not the compromise games you play when you don't have much time or you just need something simple to play. These people, the ones that can manage to squeeze an entire game into a little pack of cards, are geniuses. And these 5 card games will give you all the game you need. So join me as we take a trip to the card table. Bloody hell, that segue was cheesy. Before you write in, I know these aren't technically cards, but they serve the same function, using the back of the card to obscure what's on the front. This game is just so simple, and yet, because it unlocks unfiltered human interaction, it results in some of the most complex ripples radiating out from this simplicity. You need to play cards to the table, then someone will decide to bid. They're bidding on how many cards they think they can turn over without revealing a skull. Then, escalating bids go around the table until there's only one person left. If they turn over the number they've declared without revealing a skull, they score a point. Score 2 points and you win. But if they reveal a skull, they lose one of their cards and the play continues. Skull is a game of wagers, which means it's a game of hubris. It's a game where a delicious meta develops. Small games like this thrive on the metagame around the table, like a game I'll talk about later. What is so brilliant about Skull, though, is that it feels timeless, even though it's only about 10 years old. And it's this timelessness that makes it so intuitive to pick up for gamers and non-gamers alike. It feels like so much we're familiar with while being wholly original. There is nothing better than bidding someone up, knowing that they'll turn your card over and find a skull grinning at them. And there is nothing funnier than being too cocky and having to turn your own skull over yourself. Every time you play this, there are whoops and hollers and chest beating, followed by the inevitable comeuppance. This is a barroom game that can be played anywhere. I love Skull. We stand outside nature. We look at the beautiful landscape and we are beguiled by that beauty. Then we go inside and have a cup of tea and watch the telly, because you can only have so much of that kind of thing. Underneath the rolling hills and the pleasant twittering of birds, sorry, I meant pleasant Xing of birds, there is a far grimmer reality though. That bird song? That's the beautiful thrush telling the sparrow next door that these bloody trees belong to him, and the trees themselves, they'll drop a bloody branch on you if you aren't careful. This is Arboretum. A simply beautiful game that models nature perfectly by looking gorgeous and then turning round and slapping you in the unmentionables. It's also another wonderfully simple game. You draw cards, play one, keep one and discard one. You're trying to build ascending rows of trees to make the most prepossessing woodland walk. This would be perfect but for one thing. See those bastards? Yeah, those bastards. The ones sat around the table. They want to block your paths and take up space with their own bloody stupid trees. And we all know that their trees are rubbish. The bastards. Also, You always have to discard a card, and you may give one of the bastards the exact card they need to score loads of points, that bastards. Then, and this is the truly devilish part, you can only score your paths if you have the highest value of that suit in your hand at the end of the game, and you only have a vague idea of what the other bastards have got. Come on now, say it with me. The bastards. There is so much think and double think in Arboretum, so much plotting and so much devastation. If you go down to the woods today, you're sure to get high blood pressure. Brilliant. Bloody Reiner can eat Sire. He can wrangle magic out of huge boxes filled with stuff, but he can also manipulate a simple deck of cards and create something out of these meagre resources. Part of his roster of incredible bidding games that include Modern Art, Ra and Amon-Re, this is the one that does the most with the least. You are bidding on baubles of grandeur in fin de siècle France, but you don't want to appear gauche by spending too much money. This is the brilliance of high society. If you're the person who spends the most money, you lose. That's it. So you need to be judicious in your spending. But the good doctor doesn't make it easy for you. He brilliantly leverages the vast reservoirs of mathematics that reside in that huge cranium of his. It's the way he distributes the values on the cards that you use to bid. This results in you always spending just a little bit more than you want, to leave you teetering on the edge of looking nouveau riche. Then there are the cards you have to bid not to take because they confer some horrendous penalty. There is so much here that creates tension and hooks you into this brilliant game. Oh, and I forgot to mention, it's only 10 minutes long. Bloody Reiner can eat Sire. Now I know that Uwe Rosenberg has eschewed the humble card game for the allure of the Tetronimo, and many of his huge games are brilliant, but back before he was Uwe Rosenberg, he was an unknown German designer who made the best negotiation game out there. He was the unknown German designer who designed Bohnanza. You must plant long strings of beans to then harvest them for points, but you'll never draw what you need yourself, so you have to barrack and cajole all of those bastards sat around the table with you. But they want to win too, so you have to be particularly persuasive and charming, which is why I never win a game of Bohnanza. This is one of the purest negotiation games out there, but its simple rules are so solidly built that there's no chance they'll fall apart, no matter how much you hit them. To my shame, I was only introduced to this game fairly recently, but bloody hell I was impressed when I played it. Your turns are super snappy and the back and forth across the table is of the highest quality. This is the perfect game to start the night off with, to get your juices flowing, or after you've had a couple of drinks and are really in the mood to haggle. Looking at Bohnanza, it's little wonder that Uwe Rosenberg went on to be one of the best designers out there. This is an Uwe game you could pick up and play and con your auntie out of all of those delicious stink beans. Wonderful. When I read The Road by Cormac McCarthy the year it came out, I knew, as I sat there slack-jawed at his masterful prose, that I was reading a classic. This is the exact feeling I got when playing Pray Another Day from Matt Dunstan and Brett Gilbert. Sometimes things just click. And if this doesn't win the Spiel des Jahres, then I shall write a stern letter to the President of Germany. If I can find out who that is, of course. Hang on. Oh, it's someone called Frank-Walter Steinmeier. Heard of him? No, me neither. I thought it was Jurgen Klopp. Why is this game so bloody good, though, I hear you ask? Well, if you're going to be so bloody insistent, I'll tell you. So rude. Pray Another Day is effortlessly simple to play, but it becomes so deep once you realise what's going on. You all have the same hand of cards that show various types of animals that you hope will survive their night in the forest. If they do, you score the points on them. The bears are strong and can hunt any of the other animals in the forest, but they don't score you much. At the other end of the spectrum is the humble mouse. It can get eaten by almost anything but gives you loads of points. If two players play the same species of animal, then they miss out on hunting that night. This rather anemic description really doesn't highlight how simply fantastic this game is. This is one that takes 10 minutes, but you'll be dying to play it over and over. And this is good, because through these repeated plays, you get a wonderful accretion of meta, the most valuable resource in the game. This is why Pray Another Day is so good, the meta that develops around the table. It is the guessing and second guessing. You know that bastard is going to play this card now, so I have to play this card. Then they go and do something completely out of character and explode your whole game. I played this the other night and laughed and bellowed and remonstrated and laughed again. This is a riot of a game, destined to become a classic. The card games you need to own. If you can think of any more great little card games, pop them down in the comments, and if you think I'm a charlatan whose opinions are total hogwash, well then let me know. Self-improvement never stops. Also, if you want to buy one of these gorgeous Ben and Steve Battle Report t-shirts, you can go to sirmeeple.com and you can hear the Battle Reports by supporting the Patreon. Many of the backers think they're the best things we do. Also, you get your name at the end of a video like these lovely lot. So thanks for watching, and when I come up with a suitable catchphrase, I'll be sure to let you know.